Hey friends, welcome to our Monday evening chat with a pastor. I'm here with my friend and coworker Christopher Harley. Christopher, how you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks.
Awesome. Yeah, Christopher's our children's minister at OCC. For the past few weeks, we've been talking about the crisis that we're in, Christopher, and we've been going through a series talking about really how there's a lot of obstacles presented by COVID-19 and the epidemic we're in, but we can reframe the way we think about those and see them as opportunities to grow.
Mhm.
And so I've asked Christopher to share with us this week specifically about family and how we have an opportunity to grow in our families. But first, man, how is your family? What's it been like for you guys in this season?
Well, the standing joke is we have two very hyper large breed dogs, a golden retriever and a Bernese Mountain, and two of us, my son and I, are extroverts. My wife, on the other hand, is introverted, and so the standing joke is pray for her. She's not okay. Um, and uh, and every now and then she'll say, "You want to go for a drive?" And she doesn't mean together. She just means you want. Should you leave the house for a little bit? But the
I could use
truth
some
is, like everyone
space.
else, I mean, yes, yes. Truth is, I do miss getting out, seeing friends, going to church, seeing church family and friends. But we are really doing quite well, all joking aside, and we're actually really enjoying this season where there's just a little more time together and a little less crazy
Mm,
normal schedule stuff. So
mm.
we're doing quite well, thank you.
Good. Hey, it's good to hear that you all are well, man. I'll be praying for Jen.
Yes.
Um, so, Christopher, as you look at the epidemic we're all going through and the obstacles created by it, what would you say is one of the main struggles that families are going through during this season?
Yeah, that's a great question. Um, I think that one of the biggest struggles right now seems like a duh, but it's the amount of time that we're spending together. For many of us
Mm,
pre-coronavirus, our lives were on this constant cycle. Get up, get the kids to school, get to work. Kids come home from school, have a snack, do homework, eat supper, maybe rush to soccer, to basketball, to something. Come home, get a shower, hang out if there's time, finish up what has to be done, get to bed, and start the next day all over again. And it was this cycle.
mm,
And now parents and ourselves included, uh, our cycle's off, the kids' cycle's off. Some of us, again, ourselves included, we've had to set up home offices. So in our
mhm,
house, Jennifer is in a home office in our guest room. I had to set up one in our sunroom, and Zachary has part of the kitchen table that is used for homeschooling, which is a whole nother thing. That was something that was very unexpected. Um, and the other part of that too is, and I kind of just mentioned, is parents who never thought we would be homeschoolers are suddenly homeschoolers, and we're trying to ward off or fend off the whole boredom. I'm bored.
mm,
And so I have a feeling for some of us, it's just trying to prevent our family or our home from looking like Survivor, Home Edition, or or worse, something out of Lord of the Flies. And I don't want to paint this like bleak picture. However, the truth is, this stay-at-home thing can bring out the best, or it can bring out the worst in anyone because tensions can run so high.
mm. Yeah, absolutely. It is so easy when you spend a lot of time together to just get irritated. And many people right now have a lot of time together. It's just
Yes.
our experience in the moment. So, Christopher, when you are looking at the extra time we have together and these obstacles, these struggles that we're going through, how do you reframe them in your mind to see them as opportunities to grow rather than just obstacles?
Right, right. I love this because it's something I've been thinking about a lot.
Mm,
Um, this actually can be a great time, a time to make changes in your family, set up some new guidelines for your family. For example, gather the family together and set some realistic rules for how do we deal with conflict, because we're going to be together, and we're kind of in crisis mode anyway, and then how do we set up guidelines for uh, created the needed space, because even though we're all confined within these four walls, our reality is we still need to have that space of our own. um, and so I would suggest, with that in mind, maybe schedule some things in your day that you've always wished you could do, but you just never had the time for it. For example, for parents, like this can be that unexpected gift that you have just received, of time. So much we hear about quality time, but the truth is, you need more than just quality time. You need qual quantities of quality time.
Mm.
And now we've been given quantities, and so now we have to make it quality time. So be intentional. Ask yourself, how can I use this time to invest, in my kids, in my spouse? Maybe decide to do something together that normally you would rush through. For example, let your children help you prepare dinner, where in the past you've been running to get it done because it just needs to be done because you need to throw it on the table, eat it, and get going somewhere.
Mm.
Now stop and have your children help you prepare that meal. Teach them how to cook. We hear, oh, adulting's hard. It is when you don't have the skills you need.
Mhm.
And so, this is a great time to help our children learning those necessary skills that they're going to need to be the people we want to see them become. And decide to learn something together, maybe too. Going back to cooking, maybe you and your child try a recipe that you've never tried before either. Have fun with it. So what if it's a train wreck? Look back and laugh on that. And I would say another thing too is, and don't forget to play together.
Mm.
Never underestimate the power of play. And our family is certainly not perfect, but one thing we've been doing a lot in the last couple weeks is we've been playing a lot of board games, um, which we never seemed to have time for before. And so we've played multiple games of Settlers of Catan, and we love that game. It's fun. And in this last few days, we have had an ongoing game of Monopoly Star Wars Edition, which is Zachary's favorite game.
Nice.
And so we just eat supper at one end of the table, and we have Monopoly on the other end of the table. We have our supper, we move around to go to the other end of the table, and we start our game of Monopoly. And so those type of things have been a lot of fun. And I think we just need to realize that, um, the struggles can be real, but the opportunities can be exponential. And maybe we'll even look back in a few years, and we're going to say in 10, 15 years, remember when we were all stuck in home. And I hope that for the families, we stop and say, you know what, that was pretty cool. That was really a time that changed our family, or that was really a time where we just got to know each other better and we got closer to each other. um, it can be a really great gift,
Mm.
this time together, and so we have to treat it as such.
Mm. Absolutely. I uh, I think it would be awesome to hear kids saying in 5 years, like, I just connected so much with my parents, fell in love with them again during that season,
Yeah,
or whatever. Like, it would just
husbands
be
and wives too.
absolutely, absolutely. And
Yeah,
and we can let the opposite happen. We can let the annoyances drive us, the irritation, and then be so burdened and weighed down with that stuff that, we don't even spend time together. Sometimes I don't
yeah,
want to spend time with someone I'm irritated with, but instead we can say, wait, no, I'm gonna dig deep. I'm gonna push into this. We need to reconcile. We need to say, okay, I'm gonna come together with my family, with my spouse, and we're gonna grow together. Something else came to mind as you were chatting, Christopher, and it's this idea that intimacy in relationship is formed when we respond to each other's bids for connection,
Yeah.
that we're constantly bidding to connect. Like I sometimes am very goofy around the house, and it's almost like my bid for Kayla to acknowledge me and to laugh at me or something. And
Yes.
our the degree to which we'll connect with each other is increased the more we respond to each other's bids. So the kids saying, "Daddy, would you play with me? Daddy, would you play Legos, build Legos with me? Like,
Hmm.
Mommy, will you? Can I help cook?" All those things are bids for connection from our
Yeah.
kids, and when we respond to them, we deepen our relationship. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
And sometimes as parents, we have to initiate that because that's not the norm that the kids are used to. And so we have to um, open the invitation to them. They may not ask us, can I cook with you? Instead ask, hey, let's cook together. This will be fun. I'm going to show you some things. Or I've never tried this recipe. We're gonna try it together. We'll see what happens, you know? And
Hmm.
so sometimes we're going to get it from our kids and we need to respond that way. But other times, I think we're going to have to introduce the opportunities to them. Um, and again, think of this as a gift.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, and it's also a gift for us as we learn to live out, what Paul says in Ephesians about a godly household, where we learn to
Yeah.
submit to each other out of reverence for Christ. Husbands, love your wives like Christ loved the church. When you wrestle with that, that's a daunting task, right?
Yes.
And wives, submit to your husbands. And children, submit to your parents.
And fathers, don't exasperate your children.
Eh, yeah, totally
in
get
our
that.
in our family, we've already had the Zachary, get over here moment this morning. So,
Uh-huh.
yeah, it happens.
Yeah, and there's this opportunity to lean into that and to say, okay, we have the opportunity to grow in our experience of a
Yeah.
godly household, how we uh and that whole picture is framed around Jesus's love for the church and then the church's response to Jesus. And
Yes.
we get to almost experience Jesus's love and as we're stretched, we grow through that stretching, but we have to allow ourselves to. We can get bitter, we can get upset, and just that's it'll lead us the opposite direction of growth.
Right.
But instead, we get to lean in. um, and so anyway, I think you're totally right, Christopher, that this season presents us with awesome opportunities to grow in our connectedness, in our relationships, in our family. And man, if there was any final word of encouragement you could offer to parents or families, what would you say to them?
Yeah. Again, I go back to this idea of this is a gift. If you get a gift from your kids, um, it's probably not going to be the masterpiece. Like, for example, if your child draws you a picture, it's probably not going to be a true masterpiece to anyone else. But um, but for you, it's beautiful. This is not ideal situation. This is not going to be our reality long term, and it can get a little ugly. But if we treat it with as a precious gift and we start working at it again, maybe you know, I guess where else can you have the opportunity to try something, and if it doesn't quite work, but it was getting there, you get to try again. For example, hey, we're going to kind of rephrase or reframe our rules or our guidelines for our house, and we're going to be intentional about having, let's use the game time again. um, if you do that on a normal Monday through Friday, pre or post coronavirus, um, especially pre, and it doesn't quite work, well, you've run out of time and you may not get that opportunity again for another 7, 10, 12 days. Here, okay, that didn't quite work the way we wanted it. We're going to try again tomorrow. And so you get to experiment and try these things. And again, I go back to this isn't going to last forever, but the memories are going to last forever, one way or another. And so let's do our best that when we come out of this, we're different. We're different as people. We're different as families. Our relationship with our spouses, we're different and better for it because we came through a difficult time together. And that's really the key. We did it together. We
Mm.
trusted God. We stuck together as a family and we moved forward. And I really do. Again, I hope that 10, 15, 20 years down the road, our kids mention, yeah, the vacations. But I hope they also mention that time where we were all stuck together. And it was really the coolest thing that ever happened to our family. Why not?
Absolutely. Why not? We have this awesome opportunity to address the issues daily, like you said, and to push in
Yeah.
and grow. I love that, man. Thanks so much for sharing with us today, Christopher, and sharing your time with us and your wisdom. We appreciate you, man. Um, if
Thank
parents wanna
you.
if parents wanna stay connected to OCC's children's ministries, how could they do that?
We have two. We have a couple ways. Go to the Orville Christian Church YouTube channel. You can also go directly to the OCC Kid City YouTube channel.
Hmm.
And if you want to hear what's going on with our ministry, we'd be glad to send out our weekly email called the Spotlight. Just email me; we'll add you to the list. We have a lot of helpful parenting things on there as well. At the end of most of those emails, there are things to do or ways to learn, some parenting opportunities, those type of things. Sometimes they're just tips, but I think it's helpful and maybe more so now in this time than ever before. So those would be some great ways to keep up with us.
Awesome. We'll include Christopher's email address in the information on this post. Friends, thanks again for joining us for a chat with a pastor. We'll see you again next Monday. Have a great week.
Thank you so much. Bye.